Minette Batters, the president of the NFU, is due to stand down very soon, and she's done an interview today with the Financial Times. I will put a link in the text below for you to have a read. In essence, she's confirming what we have been saying for some time, really since Brexit was ever dreamt up, that it was always going to be a disaster for farming and food. And I know a lot of people turn around and say, oh, you farmers, you all voted for it and you're reaping what you're sowing. But it isn't us farmers, because we are being subsidised. We are being subsidised to do environmental schemes, which means that we're not producing your food, and increasingly more food is coming in from further away. We're relying on imports to feed us from further away, at a time when the world is going into chaos with war and climate change. The Panama Canal is really in difficult trouble because of drought, and that's not going to be sorted out for years. And the Suez Canal is also in trouble because of gangs attacking loads of ships, and some shipping companies are pulling out of using that route. All of this means that trade is going to be much more difficult. The supply chain is not going to function. And we have decided to sort of say, oh, we don't need food security in Britain. We'll give up our ability to grow enough food, and we'll also give up our participation in the world's biggest free market. And we'll just go out there and be besieged with risk. I mean, it's madness. So it's good that she's come out and said this, and I do hope that with a change of government, which is going to happen in 2024, we have a more sensible approach to food and farming. But because so much damage has happened to British farming, in the sort of near term, in the medium term, there is no way that we can up production overnight, and which is why I keep saying we need to get back into the single market, because we need to free up trade, to allow European imports to come in here, to make sure that we've got those food stocks to feed Britain. It'll take time for British farming to recover from what has been done to it by Brexit. Anyway, here's some clips to remind you of from 2021, when New Zealand News reported on the trade deal and what's playing out now in Britain as a result.
Liz Webster knows the feeling. The deal has left her wanting too.
It's us surrendering to you, New Zealanders, and giving you a great deal, and we're getting nothing out of it.
While the deal is expected to boost New Zealand's GDP by $970 million, or around 0.3%, the impact on Britain's economy is expected to be negligible. But take it to the TMO. Do you feel like a winner?
No, of course not. No, we're losers. I mean,
the truth is, farmers here are worried for the future.
It'd be sad if it all sort of went away.
Now hoping British loyalty to UK made will be enough to keep them in business. In Wiltshire, Lisette Raymer, News Hub.
It's market day in Melton Mowbray, but despite the auctioneer's best efforts, the bidding is proving sluggish. For the farmers, disappointment and dark talk of a recent free trade deal signed with New Zealand.
The lamb has been coming over from New Zealand by the ton, tons and tons of it. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, the trade in the local markets has just been hit by a rock. We're probably £15–20 per lamb down.
The deal will see Kiwi meat imported without tariffs, and farmers in the UK say they get nothing in return.
A world away from rejoicing Kiwi farmers, their welly-wearing counterparts feel as though they are the sacrificial lambs of the free trade deal.
We're not competing on a level playing field.
The UK's less intensive approach to farming means their offerings could quickly be outpriced and outstocked by New Zealand's once tariffs are removed.
For a lot of people, it is all about price. So when you are at the shelf and you've got one leg at this price, one leg at another price, people have got to make those decisions.
The freshly inked FTA will see the quota of tariff-free lamb exported to the UK increase sharply over the next 15 years. And after that, it's a complete free-for-all.
I think the main message is the fear of unknown.
The brave new free trade world will come around even faster for dairy and beef.
Well, oh, George, I haven't got any apples for you. So
It's the kind of trade deal Britain's government sold as a potential benefit of Brexit, freeing the country from the shackles of the European Union. Most of the farmers here tell us they still support the UK's withdrawal, that business on the whole has held up well. Some, off camera, say they regret their vote, missing EU subsidies and easier access to the European single market. A few steps away, Stephen Nightingale is less shy. Promised Brexit freedoms, he says, just haven't come to pass.
I voted to leave, and I must say I've sort of wavered a bit, really. You know, I think if I knew what I know now, I'd have probably voted to stay in, really.
This area has long been famous for its pork pies. These days it's also known as one of the most staunchly pro-Brexit places in the UK. But there are growing signs here and nationally that sentiment is shifting. One survey this month suggests nearly 2/3 of Britons support a second referendum in the coming years on rejoining the EU. Another, that 1 in 3 supporters of the Conservative government voted in on its slogan, "Get Brexit Done," believe Brexit has caused more problems than it's solved. Local brewer Conby Crine was always sceptical about Brexit. 10% of his exports used to go to Ireland, but now costs for his retail customers there have doubled, and exports to the continent have also dried up.
Right now, where we might ship, 10,000 or 20,000 beers at a time into Europe, the paperwork, the fixed costs are really making our beers uncompetitive.
But even if Brexit regret is starting to trend higher, neither the government nor the main opposition Labour Party is going anywhere near the political risk of a second referendum.
Is on the cusp of change. The subsidies are coming out of farming. Who is being subsidised? If you think about it, it's probably highly likely that farmers were able to operate just breaking even, maybe even making a slight loss or a small profit, and those subsidies were able to sort of keep things going. Now those subsidies are going. The problem is the supermarkets and the buyers want their same profits, their same cut. We don't set the price. We just have to go and see what people are willing to give.
Pay. Yeah. Amanda Owen, the Yorkshire shepherdess. Can we talk a little bit specifically about Brexit? Did it bring you back greater control, or have you lost a lot through it?
No, to be quite honest with you, it destroyed our market. That's absolutely what it did. The type of land we farm, we're a country that has a lot of marginal land that is only suitable for grazing livestock, sheep in other words. And we had markets in Europe, Spain, Greece, France. They all wanted the lightweight lambs that we supplied, but unfortunately now that market is pretty much shut off from us. So, we can't change what we farm. Particularly on a farm like ours, it's a tenanted farm. It's Ravensheath Farm. It's a tenanted farm.
What does that mean, actually, to those of us who are not farmers?
It means that the farm belongs to a landowner.
Okay.
We don't own the farm. We pay rent on the farm. And do you know what comes with that, with the farm? Sheep.
Once you appreciate that Brexit has ensured that even within the United Kingdom, English farmers are worse off because the devolved nations have continued with food subsidies and English farmers have been forced into environmental schemes or no schemes at all and having to intensify their production. Then when you mix in the European farmers who do not have the trade barriers that we have, who also are subsidised and have freedom of movement, so they're not facing the labour problems that we are, and they're not facing the bad trade deals that we have, which are only going to get worse every year, then you understand why Brexit is so bad for food and farming.